What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Yeah, another walk down. It's just so amazing. Time flies when you're doing the things that you love. Yeah, it's just amazing. What's up, chat? How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all for joining me on the walk down. If you don't know what the walk down is, we run 3 miles a day, and then we walk another mile and a quarter or more, depending if the host runs his mouth or not. And if you don't know by now, I'm your host, the one on the Stock Sniper. Yeah, I am the host. And yeah, we just out here, 2 workouts in one. I gotta start saying that because a lot of people say, Stock Sniper, man, that's 2 workouts. Well, so I'm starting to say that now. The walk down is a whole nother workout. But I just don't rest in between. I just keep going. But it's not a cool down walk. It's kind of a nice pace walk. And sometimes I end up walking more than 2 or 3 miles, sometimes 5. Depending on what's going on. Yeah, and there's a lot going on. Yep, Iran turned down offer and came up with their own offer. They came up with their own offer. So that's what's going on today. The thing is, will Trump go all out if them people don't back down? That's the big question, you know. And it's y'all for y'all's opinion. Should he pull out or not? But if he pulls out, it's not going to look good, for multiple reasons that I have already explained in other lives and other videos. Or if he pulls out, but try to tell everybody that we won and certain things on the ground, it's not in place. It's not gonna be too good for the future, But if he go all out, if Iran say okay, man, y'all gonna have to do what we want y'all to do, which that's all Iran did, was countered with their own plan. And the plan consists of a lot of things that I don't know if the United States of America will sign to those things that Iran want. Guarantees, as they call it. Yeah, they want a lot of guarantees. One of the guarantees that they want is for America to pay for all that damage in Iran, from the war. Yeah, that's on the list. It's for America to pay for the damages. So that means that Americans, us as taxpayers, all that damage that's going on over there, if Iran get what Iran wants, we'd have to pay for all that. Crazy, crazy stuff, man. It really is. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen about the next week, But what we must do is pay attention, not what they say, but the actions on what's going on. You gotta pay attention to the actions. You can't listen. A pair of lips will say anything, but you gotta pay attention you have to pay attention to the actions, And plus we got a partial government shutdown going on. So it's a lot going on today. But you know what? It's a nice, beautiful day though. On another note, it's a nice, beautiful day. Yeah, it is. I hope y'all doing okay out there. Hope everything is good. But one thing is this: if the 48 hours is up, right? What 48 hours? Well, Trump gave them a demand that you have to open up the straits, which is the river that been talking about. You have to open up the straits and let all that oil come through, or we're going to strike y'all oil refineries and infrastructure like y'all never seen before. That's exactly what Trump told Iran within 48 hours. Well, if you don't know, the 48 hours came and passed. In other words, Iran did not open up the straits. They let the 48 hours go. So what Trump did was extended the time, which in my opinion, that was a bad move. You know, if you were in war, it's called the art of war. If you in war, in my opinion, and you strike, you can't bump. In other words, you can't say you're gonna do something and then don't do it. So when he didn't do it, he said 48 hours or all H-E-double-L, like my grandpa used to say, is gonna break loose. And nothing broke loose. Well, that told him, well, hey, shoot, we're gonna keep doing what we doing. And we're gonna add our own demands onto what we want, which y'all came over here and messed all this stuff up. We want y'all, our demand is you pay for this. And another demand is that this never happens again. And we want securities. You know what I'm saying? You know? And that's the demands. Hey, what's up, Damn Media? Appreciate you for joining. Damn Media, I gotta make you a moderator, man. If that's all right with you. But I don't block nobody over here, Damn Media. So don't worry about blocking nobody. This the freedom of speech channel. I want people to come up and say what they gotta say. You know, but if it gets terrible, you know, I got somebody in the background that'll put them in timeout. But I don't block nobody over here. But I want to give you a wrench, Damn Media, because I think I got to start knowing when certain people come in the chat. You know, the people that come on a regular basis. I got to start giving some wrenches so I know. By the color, I know who, you know, I know it's somebody that rock with the channel. When there's a lot of people in the chat, it's kind of hard for me to distinguish, you know, because I am an old man. It's kind of hard for me to distinguish when there's a lot of people in the chat. So I got to start giving out not a lot of wrenches, but just a few, you know, but not for like blocking nobody and messing with nobody, nothing like that, because this is the freedom of speech channel. I like people to engage and interact. We ain't got to agree with me. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. I don't care how many subscribers I end up with. I don't care if I got 1 million subscribers. If God bless, I will not be the type of host that start blocking people, you know, and tripping, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I want people to express, because this is the freedom of speech channel. You know what I'm saying? And we all have the freedom of speech, you know? So that's the reason why I like to let people speak what they want to speak. And that method has been working out very, very well. Very seldom do we have, you know, people that act they shoe size instead of their age. Very, very seldom. So I like that method of, you know, letting people, you know, speak how they speak. Let them, you know, say what they got to say. Because this is America and we got the freedom of speech. And I stand on the freedom of speech. That's why I got to have it like that. Well, let me take care of this. Okay. All right, there you go, Damn Media. I gotta know when certain people are in the chat, you know. So everybody, other people that get moderator wrenches, always remember, it's not to block nobody. It's not for that. I don't block nobody over here. You might get put in timeout or whatever, but I got somebody in the background that'll time them out, you know. So I like to give the people the freedom to say and speak how they really feel. That's how you learn things too. You know what I'm saying? That's how you learn things, chat, by letting people speak their mind. You know, to know what's going on, not only in America, but in other countries. You know, to know how things are going in other places. You know, and other people, they have different cultures and different things that are going on. And I like to take in that type of information. Zay goes. No blocks, just timeouts. I'm the same way when I go live. Let people talk themselves into a trash bin. Nah, it's kind of funny though, but I don't. I like for people to interact. And a lot of, sometimes, people ain't gonna agree. They got different, ideas, and that's good. And when people come, and a lot of people be watching in the background, they want to see how, if they have the freedom of speech, can they say something and not get talked bad to, if they don't agree with the host, you know what I'm saying, or the person that's doing the live stream. I don't like that. I've been on a lot of different channels, and a lot of them, if you don't agree with what they're talking about, they block you. Some of them will cuss you out for not agreeing with what they say, which that's kind of like trying to control somebody, And I'm from America, Jack. I'm from the land of the free and home of the brave. You know what I'm saying? And, I speak my mind, and I stand 10 toes down on it. So that's the reason why, the freedom of speech is is the First Amendment in the United States of America. I like the freedom of speech and the freedom to bear your arms. If things go left, in America, you can take care of your business. You have the right to bear your arms. That's what I like about it. Freedom. That's why our soldiers go and do what they do to protect our hometown, our home state, and our country. Shout out to the military as we get ready to rock and roll to the next episode. But yeah, guys, hey, what's up? Sinceria, I'm not here to be fake nice. I'm honest, and I only block people when they say, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Zay goes, it's all good. But yeah, it's, my analytics tell me it's a lot of, it's people, most of the people that are on this channel are over 60. So I think that's the reason why I don't get that many negative knuckleheads come in. Of course, it's gonna be some, you know what I'm saying, because you know how the live feed is set up. But thankful for God is that it's not really that many, and a lot of times I just overlook them. It's just not that many. It's because a lot of people on this channel are older. That's what my analytics tell me, that majority of the people that watch this channel is over 65. So that's that. And, I've been having, pretty decent people coming to rock with the channel, because also it's about what you push out. It's just like in life, you attract, what I'm saying, who you are. And that has a lot to do with it. You attract who you are. If you produce negativity, you're gonna get that back tenfold. And on the internet, if you're looking at it a certain type of way, and you always pushing out negativity, and you're not a negative person in real life, eventually it's gonna catch up with you. Why, Stock Sniper? Because you get tenfold what you push out. So if you push out and you come across as always negative, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get that tenfold or more than that on the internet. And then when you're ready to switch it up, you know what I'm saying, and act like who you are in real life, you ain't gonna like it. You gonna get offended, you get offended then. So that's why it's always good. On the internet, you gotta be who you are. It's just so that people are interested in the same things that I'm interested in. So I could be my normal self and, and still interact with the people, and it's been working pretty good so far. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with the channel. Appreciate y'all for coming through, rocking with me. As I just got through running 3 miles, Now I'm walking another mile and a quarter. And man, one thing about this going live and exercising, it makes this time go by quicker. And what I'm noticing is that my endurance is going up and up and up. I mean, some people are like, golly, Stock Sniper, you've been doing these walk downs. This is the 4th season, episode 153. Stock Sniper, I've been watching your channel for a couple of years now. And man, you've been seriously working out. How more in shape can you get? Well, the thing is, when you love what you do, which I love going live and doing this, you know, it's got my cardio and my health to a whole nother level, and it keeps getting better. You know, but the best thing that I did was if you've been here for a while, you know I was running 6 and 8 miles a day and then walking another 4 or 5. Well, I had to cut down. After the marathon, I had to cut down, and now back to my normal maintenance workouts. You know what I'm saying? My normal maintenance workouts, where I run my 3 miles, I walk another mile and a quarter or 2 or 3 or whatever, and then I hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? Because I do work out 3 times a day, well, really 4, because people are telling me that this is 2 workouts because I run 3 miles, and then I cut this live on, and then I walk another mile and a quarter, sometime more than that, depending on what we're doing inside of this live. So I got to change it. I work out 4 times a day, and you know, and it's good for my mental health. It's good for being able to focus. You know, it's good for that. Like a lot of people have hard time focusing. A lot of people are anxious. They get agitated real quick. You know, and that's one thing I've learned from doing this for 25 summers. Been to be 26 summers coming up in June. It'll be 26 summers that we've been doing this, and man, it's anybody that struggles with anxiety, struggles with paying attention, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing. You don't have to run a lot like I do, or you know, you can just do basic 30 minutes of walking. You know what I'm saying? And focus on your mind, body, and soul. You know, and focus on the things you have to do and accomplish in life. You know, it helps out a lot. It takes time though, because it's not like taking a pill or nothing. It ain't nothing that's it takes time to start getting your mind, because the mind is like a computer. It takes time to get it all ready to rock and roll. But once you get it to going and your body get to flowing, you know what I'm saying, it all works out for the better. Most young people don't like politics or religion. It's complicated and makes uncomfortable. Well, what I try to tell younger people, like what my parents and grandparents told me, everything in life has something to do with politics. You know, even on your job, you know, it could be political on your job. So when it comes to politics, as far as when it comes to the world and what's going on in America, everything is dictated by who you vote for. Everything in life is voted. You know what I'm saying? Who is in office it dictates, you know, what's going on in every single thing, like the park. Simple things that you don't even think of, the cleanliness of a park in your community. You know what I'm saying? It has something to do with the city council. It has something to do with the elected officials in your section of your community. You know, it's all works together. You know, it's very, your school taxes, your house taxes, how the schools are being taken care of that your kids go to. Everything has something to do with this, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and me, you know, I was raised understanding these things. If you got a 401k plan on your job, if you got a job, the hourly wage, everything has something to do with that. You know, with politics, with who you elect. If you don't vote, that also has an effect on what's going on. You know, and that's the reality. And people don't understand that until it really hits the fan. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand it until things really hit the fan. They be like, man, this dude made a decision that I really don't like. Well, did you vote? You know, or are you all talking to people about certain things, you know? Well, your street lights might be knocked out and they ain't coming to fix it. Well, a lot of times it has something to do with whoever is over your section of your city. You might have to go and talk to someone. You might have to go to City Hall and have a conversation with some people, to get some things done. That's just, if you own a house, what I'm saying, homeowners association, your community to get things done. If the city the roads all messed up and the city ain't doing their job, who you elect into the office in your city. It's called politics and laws. The community as a whole might have to go up to City Hall, might be 150 of y'all in the neighborhood, anything. It's just everything is ran by who we elect in these offices. And, and that's why it's very, very important. It's very important that we not only know these things, but we teach it to our kids and grandkids. That's why they have history, and they have social studies, and they have political science in school. And it also helps if you have parents and grandparents that also understand this whole process. That's very, very important. A lot of people don't have these type of conversations at the kitchen table, about simple things like I just mentioned, about a park being clean. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no poop nowhere on the ground. I mean, it's just it has everything to do with everyday life. Your water bill. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Politics has something to do with everything in life. You got to understand that. And the thing is to make it simple. To make it simple. That's all it is. What you believe in. What you believe in. How you want your city to be ran. How you want your state to be ran. How you want your household to be ran. Your neighborhood. It all has something to do with going downtown to City Hall. You just don't. A lot of people these days just vote for people just because, don't know nothing about them. They vote for them just because it's popular to vote for that person. But so it's very, very important. When I was young, we had mock elections in school. You know what I'm saying? We had mock elections. You had to do your research. You know what I'm saying? On whoever is up for an election, whoever's on the ballot. We had to do research and write papers. I don't even know if school like that anymore, but you had to do that in school, and we had mock elections. So, especially in history class, social studies, political science, those type of things. Right. The best way to have an impact is to get to know your local leaders. Right. So those are just a few examples that, I was just talking about, about things that's crime. You know what I'm saying? If it's a lot of crime, all of a sudden, people start stealing people's cars and all kind of things like that. And they're not doing nothing about it. Well, the people as a community, as a neighborhood has to go and go talk to whoever's over there, because it's strength in numbers. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. That's how it goes. Property taxes, school taxes, all that. Income tax, all those things are affected by who we vote for. And if you vote for somebody and the person you vote for don't win, then we have to, as Americans and as people, we want them to succeed. Because if they don't succeed, then it comes back on the people. So whoever you vote for, if they don't win, you have to make sure that you support the person that wins, understanding the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, will they do the right thing and will it benefit everybody? That's how it works, Chad. But a lot of people these days, they be in their feelings if the person that they elect don't win. They be in their feelings and they want them to fail. See, that's one of America's biggest problems, Chad. You know what I'm saying? As we can see on a bigger stage, one of America's biggest problems is that one side don't want to see the other side win, and the other side don't want to see the other side win. It goes both ways. That's why we, the people, are in the position that we are in right now, because that trickles down to the people. Then the people going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? The people, the Democrats going at the Republicans, and the Republicans going against the Democrats. In other words, everybody start getting in their feelings. And then what that does is that the people that are that want us to fail, the people that don't believe in our values, right? The people that don't believe in our values, it's just like the art of war, is divide and conquer. So America is really, really vulnerable. We've been vulnerable for a long time, and it's just getting worse. You know, and that's the thing. But the thing, Chad, is what's going to happen with this oil. Iran is standing up big. What's going to happen next? I'm gonna tell y'all right now. If Donald Trump strike those, if he do what he said he's going to do with the 48 hours, and he hit them like never before on their infrastructure of their oil refineries, the gas in America is going to go up higher than what we ever thought. That's why I said on this channel like a year ago, I dictate, because I am a retired truck driver, and I used to say this all the time. I dictate what's going on in the economy by the price of gas and oil. You know, a year and a half ago, everybody was complaining about eggs. And here on this channel, I was telling them, I was saying, Chad, y'all better listen to the OG. I'm a retired truck driver. How I have always, my parents and my grandparents told me this too, how you always dictate what's going on in your economy, what's going on with prices of things, is when oil prices go up, gas prices go up, because the oil and the gas is somewhat of the foundation of everything. Because guess what? You need lights. You need gas in your car. A lot of people ain't talking about the electricity bills, but the electricity bills are going to go up. You need lights. You need the water refineries and all that need energy, you know, to get those things up and moving. What else? And the transportation, right? The diesel and truck drivers have to get all the stuff that we buy every day, have to deliver that stuff from the shipyards and the ports and the warehouses and the distribution centers. If those prices go up, you automatically know everything else is going to double and triple. That's why I used to say a year ago, yes, things were going up a little bit, but what gets me, because I'm a 25-year retired truck driver, is when energy goes up, when oil goes up. That's when you got to look out, because guess what, Chad? If Trump goes and strikes Iran like he said he was going to do the other day, look for gas in your area to double and triple. And guess what's going to happen? All going to happen is going to go from, you think eggs and all that stuff was high last year. Just wait to see if he strike. That's exactly what's going to happen. You know, it's a lot of different ways, a lot of different things we can look at it, you know. But if I start bringing up the second element, which I think some of y'all probably already know about the second element, because I've been talking about it for 3 days, it has something to do with the present and the future. Because what we have to realize is Iran threats with these nuclear weapons and these nuclear missiles is really a threat. We got to understand that. Iran been doing this since I was a little bitty kid. That's what we have to understand. So the thing is, will we kick it back down to the grandkids, or will we go lock in right now, short time suffering for long-term gains? That's how we gotta, that's how we have to look at it. But we already know most Americans, most people don't think 15, 20 years. Most people ain't thinking about their great-grandkids and their grandkids. Most people ain't thinking about that. Most people are thinking about right now. Why, Stock Sniper? Because most people are struggling. Most people are struggling. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Yes, everybody has jobs. That's not the problem. Income, money, making money is not the problem. It's spending the money. You know, a lot of people ain't gonna want to say, well, man, I'm used to buying DoorDash and Uber every single day. I'm used to buying cigarettes every single day. Mean to tell me I gotta make a choice between rent and cigarettes? A lot of people gonna say, you know what? I choose my cigarettes. I choose my liquor. I choose DoorDash and Uber. I choose going to the club every weekend. And I'll do some alternative things. You know, some people will sacrifice their house. And this real deal talk. A lot of people will sacrifice their house, their place of living, as long as they can smoke their cigarettes every day, as long as they can drink their alcohol every day, as long as they can go party every day, as long as they go to the corner store every single day, as long as they can keep their spending habits going. You know what I'm saying? As long as they can keep their spending habits going, they will sacrifice their place of living. They will do that. That's just how some people are. You know, but some people also gonna say, you know what? Perfect time to quit smoking. Perfect time to quit drinking. Perfect time to stop going to the club every weekend. Perfect time to stop giving all my money to women. Perfect time to stop doing drugs, etc., etc., etc. You know, so man, the next couple of weeks is gonna be crucial. The next couple of weeks is gonna be crucial, chat, because if Donald Trump, if Donald Trump he has a decision he has to make. Number one, will he go on and strike Iran again, like he said, like never before, and really take out all the threats that they have on us, take out all the threats, or back up, let them open up that straits and kick the problem down to the grandkids. That's the position we in right now, chat. I'm gonna say it again. Will he go? And because we already here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like getting into a fight, and then now you don't want to fight no more because your back is against the wall a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's either you gonna go on and fight to the end, since the fight is happening right now, or you gonna back up. That's the two things Donald Trump got to do right now. If he attacks again and destroys their infrastructure, our oil and gas prices are probably going to double. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. If he don't do that, the threat that Iran opposes on us, if he backs up and let Iran basically take control, and they open up that Strait of Hormuz and let all that oil come through, and he tell us, yeah, we won, and claim victory. That's all that's saying is that the problem that Iran is to us, we're just gonna kick it down. We're just gonna kick the problem down like they've been doing for 50 years. I've been seeing it for 40. Each president kicks the problem down farther and farther. Eventually, it's gonna come to a head. Eventually, you're gonna have to, something gonna have to shake eventually. So when? Now? Short time pain? Or kick the problem down the road? Because they are a problem. Just think about September 11th. etc., etc., etc. So it's two things. A is eliminate the full problem. That way the kids and the grandkids ain't got to worry about it. But the only thing about that is if they eliminate the problem right now, our gas and price is going to double and triple. Okay? That's short term. Long term, our grandkids and great grandkids gonna face the same problems, of not, if not more, when we not here. Just think about it. If they complete that program and actually do strike, that can mean we won't be here to see it, but that can possibly mean that our great grandkids and our downline can basically be affected tremendously. So that's the decisions. That's the thing that we are in right now. You know, and younger people, it might sound strange. It might sound weird. It might go over your head. But I said that as simple as I can put it. And that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. That's all it is to it. So, well, Stock Sniper, why haven't all the other presidents try to take care of the problem? Because they elected to evolve they decided to not to they decided to kick the problem to the kids and the grandkids. In other words, they took the oil, they made the deal, and they kicked the threats and the problems down to the next generation. That's exactly what happened. Meanwhile, all of them knew that Iran was planning to make these nuclear bombs. That's what it is. So it's a lot of that oil that's stuck right now. Think about how much money that is. That's not even money. That's wealth. Think about all that oil that is blocked up in the straits, chat. All those oil tankers. It's thousands of them in that strait that Iran is not letting them go. Don't get it twisted. It ain't like it's traffic. Now, Iran is not letting them ship those tankers so they can get where they need to get. And it's another part too is, it's another way they can go, but if they go the other way, it's just as, if not worse. Why, Stock Sniper? Because it's a longer distance. It's gonna take about 5 times longer distance to get where it needs to get. So in other words, if they have to go, if those tankers make a decision, we just gonna not go through the straits and we're gonna go the other way around. It's kind of like, let me make an example. I'm in Texas. The quickest way to Florida is through Louisiana. Well, it's blocked. I can't get to Florida the easy way. I have to go through Oklahoma, you understand what I'm saying? I got to go all the way around. In other words, a 1,000-mile trip turns into a 7,000 miles trip. So in other words, if they decide to go all the way around, the prices are still going to go up, probably more. So that's what we got to think about. A, go and finish the job and eliminate the threat. The only thing about A is that our prices and way of living is going to triple. for sure. You think it's high right now. If that oil and gas don't get where it need to get, everything is going to quadruple. Y'all think things went up the past year? Let this stuff go get way out of whack with this oil and gas. You're going to see some real prices go up in the stores. Straight up, everything is going to go up. Cigarettes, beer, your Don Julio, what everything. You think y'all was complaining about eggs? You ain't seen nothing. If those gas prices double and triple, that's A, right? But the only thing about A is that if the problem is eliminated, it's only short term. Short term pain for long term success. Like I talk about all the time on the channel, life is a marathon, not a sprint. It's like working out. Yes, it's gonna be sore. I'm gonna be sore if I just started working out. I'm gonna be sore for the first month or whatever the case may be. But I will accept the short-term pain for long-term success. Okay, so B is Trump tuck tail and pull away and give Iran what they want, which is to keep on making the nuclear weapons and let that stuff come through, and our great-grandkids, the threat will be on them. Now, the thing about that, with the development of AI, the development of technology, if they push that threat down to the next generation, 1 + 1 is 2. The threat is definitely gonna happen much easier and faster. And one thing about America, we have never had a bomb hit over here, Chad. Never had that. I had somebody in the chat the other week say that Iran can never get a missile or none of that to hit over here. Bro, we got AI. You know what I'm saying? We got AI. We got technology. We got Elon Musk that can make a rocket go up and come right back down to the format. Y'all do understand that, right? When those rockets go up, Elon Musk, he's sending those rockets up into space. And then that thing that once the people are off of the rocket, it turns around and it come and land on the platform that it left. So that's just look at NASA. That's a perfect idea. You know what I'm saying on what's going on. So if Elon Musk can make the technology of a spacecraft going way up there to the moon, to the space center, and then it comes around and it comes back down and land where it started, that'll let you know right there, with technology, with AI, with wealth, because don't get it twisted, those people over there, they are super, super wealthy. They're more wealthier than anything we could think of in America. Why, Stock Sniper? Because a lot of them have been investing in crypto, Bitcoin, and all these cryptocurrencies since they were first created. So we don't know what they got over there. We don't know. Why we don't know, Stock Sniper? Because America been too much going back and forth with each other. That's why we don't know. But intelligence has told us is that they're this close to completing the mission. So, see, they've been doing this for 20, 30 years. They've been investing in Bitcoin, take it out, and then invest it into their nuclear facilities, trying to learn how to come up with this formula to will come up with a deadly weapon that can attack not only America, but the West too. See, it's bigger than what y'all think, bro. It's bigger than just America and Israel. I hope y'all understand that. It's anybody that it's anybody that that is with or wants democracy. That's what it is. They're against anything in any country that wants freedom, you know, and they uses religion to spin their narrative. That's what they do. That's what they do. That is the basic foundation of what's going on, you know, and we have to understand that. We got to understand that fully. In their mind, everything that they believe in is what the Most High wants them to do. And everything that's against that is the enemy. We got to understand that. It's deep. We have to understand that. And younger guys, it's hard for y'all to comprehend what I'm saying, but it's absolutely true. That's what we got to understand. It's called Islamic terrorism. That's what it's called. Islamic terrorism. Like people use the Bible to spin it, not just the Bible, but any religious book or any religious belief. They take it and they spin it to what they want it to mean. And that's just what it is. And we got to understand that. That's why you have to know these things. It's deeper than Donald Trump. We got to understand that. This was going on before Donald Trump. You got to understand that too. We got to understand that. It has a lot, and only thing, and the reason why America has been kicking it down the road is because of oil, wealth. So just think about it. And right now, Iran is using that oil because Iran got it programmed in their mind from not only what they think, but what they've been told from 4 generations up. Hey, all they care about is the money. All they care about is this. All they care about is that. So all we got to do is use the oil, and they won't even worry about what we do. Long as we got our leverage, which is the oil. Once we got our leverage, we can keep on doing what we doing, which is what, Stock Sniper? Making that stuff with scientists to build nuclear weapons to do what? Attack the same people who they giving the oil to. Why? Because it has something to do with religion and beliefs. They can't stand freedom. They can't stand our democracy. They can't stand the same thing that we talk about every day, which is the right to vote, the right to the freedom of speech, which is the foundation and the model of this channel. That's what it's all about. And we have to understand that. A lot of people are letting that go in one ear and out of the other. That's what's going on. You letting it go in one ear and out of the other, and you listening to the fake news and the fake media, and you not understanding what's really going on. You ain't gonna understand what's going on until they complete what they did. A lot of people ain't gonna see. My grandpa used to always tell me this: boy, I told you not to touch that pot. You gonna touch it anyway? I guess I gotta teach you. You got to learn by experience. So nobody's gonna, in this age, nobody's really gonna understand what's going on until it's another 9/11. I said it. Nobody's gonna understand what's going on right now until it's another 9/11. Then y'all gonna understand. You know? And that's what we have to realize. Do we want another 9/11 or worse? Back when 9/11 happened, none of us thought that was gonna happen. They were saying the same thing then about the threat of these people. They were saying it then, chat, but nobody thought in America, we never thought that, hey man, they could hijack planes and basically strike our infrastructure and kill a whole lot of people. Nobody thought that until it happened. So it's bigger. It's way bigger. It's way bigger than Osama bin Laden. We got to understand that. Once you understand that, then you can start bringing some clarity. It's called an open mind. It's called thinking outside of the box. Then you can understand what's really going on. So the question is, what decision is our president going to make? Whether you like him or not, you want him to be successful, because he has a big task at hand right now. He really do, because right now, everybody on the ground, everybody in America is complaining. Why they complaining, Stock Sniper? Because gas is going up. And rent is going up. All they worrying about is the right now. They're not worrying about the future. They're not worrying about their great grandkids and kids and stuff like that. They're not worrying about 3 years from now, 4 years from now. They're not worrying about if these people really got one of these missiles that can strike America right now. They're not thinking about that. And that's what he has to think about too. Well, man, mostly everybody in America, they are complaining right now because, and Iran knows this. They're not dumb. Why they not dumb, Stock Sniper? Because, like I said, they've been planning this longer than I've been alive. The Ayatollah Bennett was in power for 40 or 50 years. That's why I say all the time on this channel is that when it comes to America and the presidency, I think that 4 years is not long enough. 8 years is not long enough. Just like, for example, Iran wants security guarantees. Iran wants this. Iran wants Donald Trump to guarantee that they will never get struck again. Donald Trump cannot guarantee that. So if you just thinking about it like that, Iran say, we ain't talking. Donald Trump America is talking to themselves. That's what Iran said. But on the other hand, this what we want. They want guarantees that, number one, we're going to pay for all that mess over there, and number two, that the striking won't happen 20 years. The next president or whatever, 15, 20 years from now, won't come and do the same thing. They want security guarantees. Well, Donald Trump can't give them no security guarantees. Chad, why, Stock Sniper? Because he only has 3 years left. It's going to be another president. So that's why, in my opinion, I'm thinking that the American voting system needs to be expanded. 4 years is not long enough. It's not. 2 years is not long enough. It's not. Because Donald Trump cannot guarantee that a president 10 years from now won't do the exact same thing. He can't guarantee that. And guess what? Iran knows that. See, it's deep. It's deep, chat. Iran thinks, from studying the history of America and the past 6 presidents, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Well, they already don't like Donald Trump. Why, Stock Sniper? Because on Donald Trump's first term, he struck out their hero, Salam Ali. So they already had something against Trump since way before this, right? So we got Donald Trump, we got Joe Biden, we got Donald Trump again, we got Obama twice, we got George Bush twice, we got Clinton, we got who else we got before Clinton? The president that just died, I can't think his name right now. We got the Kennedys, right? This how long this been going on, chat. The Kennedy, President Kennedy, the one that got assassinated, it's been going on since way back then. It's deep. You know, it's deep. That's what we got to understand that. It's deep. None of those presidents took action because of the oil. So Iran, in their mind, in their subconscious mind, they think that oil is going to get them out of this mess. That's what they think. But the thing is, will Donald Trump finish the job? Or will he turn around and back away like all the other presidents in all our history since the problem happened? See, Iran used to be good friends with America, chat, before the Ayatollah took over. Before Ayatollah in this regime, well, it's not a regime, but before Ayatollah took over, in the 60s, America and Iran was like this. Iran was somewhat adapting to the freedom of speech. Women can wear their hair down, etc., etc., etc. But the Ayatollah came into power. The 80-year-old man that got eliminated, well, the Ayatollah came in power. When the Ayatollah came in power, that's when they did a 360. That's when Iran did a full 360 and started coming with these beliefs of what they interpret the Holy Quran to be. So when that happened, they want their women covered up. They bury the women. They do their women all type of ways. They bury the women alive. The women that want to be Americanized, the women that want to have freedom like the West, the freedom to vote. They don't want their women to vote. They don't want their women to wear their hair down. They don't want their women to voice their opinions. And guess what? Anybody that's against that, they say it is a sin against God and punishable by death. That's what we're dealing with. So if somebody from Iran, and then you can't be on the internet. You can't be on the internet. You can't, because they know that once they let them people be on the internet, they want to have our freedoms. They're gonna want to come to the West. They're gonna want to come to America. They're gonna want to do these things. And that in their heart, that is a direct sin against God. And it's only punishable by death. That's where they get the term. That's where the term comes from. Death to America. Death to Israel. Death to the West. That's where that terminology come from. Like we could go on the street, no justice, no peace. No racist police. No, we could go in the streets and protest. We could go film the protests. Well, in those type of countries, if you protest, it is taken as it is a sin against God, and that's punishable by death. I hope y'all seen those 4 Iranian kids, 19 years old. One of them was a great wrestler. I used to see him wrestle a couple of times. Guess what they did to him? He was protesting. They killed him. They hung him in front of the whole city and made him say, "I have sinned against Allah," which is only punishable by death, just for his freedoms. Freedom of speech, freedom to believe what he believed in. The other guy had a Jesus, a cross across his neck. I guess he was a Christian. But guess what? They did him the same way because they looked at it like it was a sin against God and it's only punishable by death. And that's a fact. That's what we got to understand. We got to stop letting these things go in one and out of the other. Got to stop it. That's why I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna do a live stream. I'm gonna pull up Obama. I'm gonna pull up Clinton. I'm gonna pull up both Clintons. I'm gonna pull up all these Democratic previous presidents from all these administrations. And I'm gonna do a whole lecture on it. Because it's too many people that absolutely just don't know. And by me talking, it's not work. I ain't gonna say it's not working, but it's some people that it just don't get to it, just don't click. But the only thing about that is that once I do this lecture, then it's gonna be people, some people just gonna go against it regardless. That's why I started not to do it. My first mind was saying, no, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, some people are already stuck in their mind. They just they are just in their emotions. But you know what? I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do a lecture. I'm gonna go and get all the videos, and I'm gonna do a stream. I was gonna do it before, and I had it all lined up already, but I didn't do it because I started thinking that no matter what, but I ain't gonna do that. The people that come and try to say like, that's AI or whatever, talk negative about the truth, I'm just gonna ignore them because they got an opinion too. I'm just gonna ignore them and I'm not gonna address them. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. That's how we're gonna rock with it, chat, because the people need to know the history of this. You gotta know it. You know what I'm saying? So it won't go in one ear and out of the other. And then you gotta then you can make then you can come with your own opinion of do you think that Trump should go all the way out and eliminate this problem, or pull out and kick it down the street? That's then you can make that decision then. But don't make the decision on emotions. Don't do it. So with that being said, I think I'm ending right here, chat. I love and I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. Be looking out for the live stream. We got the Final Four coming up. So I forgot about that. Well, we got the Final Four coming up these next 4 days. And we're going to be watching the games we're going to react to the games. We're going to hang out and we're going to watch the games. So I got to pick a day and a time when I'm going to put out this lecture. I'm going to pull up all the videos and we're going to react to it and we're going to watch it together. That's what we're going to do. So some of these people need to understand that this is just not started. A lot of people saying this Donald Trump war. Well, it's not. It's been going on since the Kennedys, since the Clintons, since the Bushes. It's been going on. It ain't just started. September 11th was an attack. That I say September 11th because I think everybody knows that. But it's a lot more. It's been a war. Donald Trump didn't start no war. It's been going on. And I'm going to leave y'all with that. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one. Y'all have a great day. Wait, whoa. I walked 2.5 miles, chat. But I got to end it right here. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. Hope you have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. To the next one. I'm out.